What's happening, folks out there? What's going on, folks? And you welcome to the Game and Watch podcast. This is episode number 62. I am your host for today, Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool. I'm joined by my colleagues once again. We got Matt with the nice fresh haircut coming out of the barbershop just right now.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, for those that can't see who are listening to us on audio, yeah, he just got a haircut. And then, of course, OVG Gaming himself, my main man, the F man, Finest Dabs.
Here we go. Another episode, 62. Woo! Is it 62? Yeah, okay, thank gosh.
62. yeah, for sure. All right.
It was declared there. It had to be quite clearly done because I've only been on the podcast with you guys since maybe 54, 53, I think.
52, I believe, right?
Yeah, 52.
There you go. Mm-hmm. This is the first haircut I've had since I've started with the podcast with you guys. It's a landmark. It's a milestone. If there is any of you listening on the audio podcast, you must go to Our View Gaming YouTube channel and watch me with my glorious haircut.
Do that.
Yeah, absolutely do that. And I just want to say, like, I don't even know, just something about you, Matt, is like glowing today. I see you, like, you have like your gold chain and you're just like, you have the sun shining on you. And man, this is a sight to see today. I don't even know. And Justin, you know, you're always looking good. I'm feeling good today, guys. So
yeah, that's good.
Everyone's doing well. Beaming, just amazing.
Yeah,
the heavens are shining on us today.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, for sure. All right, just a reminder to you folks out there watching or listening that the Game & Watch podcast is an OVG production. Definitely support us on Patreon. You know, just any donation will go to making a better podcast for you guys. And we got a lot of great stuff coming for you guys very soon. Definitely. So definitely keep checking back for that. Definitely stream us on all our platforms: Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and then of course the audio podcast. We're on just about every listening platform where you can listen to your podcasts, or where you can possibly think of, whether it be Stitcher, Spotify.
We're on everything. It's okay
to say everything.
We're on everything.
We're on everything.
You may have to search a little bit, but we're on there.
Once again, I also need to point out the delightful irony that on a potentially audio podcast, we're telling people listening who found us where they can find us if they've already found us.
So for the audio, you can find us also on YouTube, so you can watch us. And for the people watching on YouTube and Twitch and watching the audio version, you can also listen to us on the go and not have to watch us and listen to us through all podcasting platforms. So irony, there we go. There's the cross.
Yes, the cross.
Audio gear goes flying.
Oh, yeah. Man. The cross. All right. Well, today on the show, we're definitely gonna. Unfortunately, I mean, it seems like we talk about it just about every week now. We're going to talk more about the N64 and on the Nintendo Switch, and how Nintendo wants to improve its online service, or that's what they say. We'll see if that actually happens, and then we're also going to get into a little interesting conversation. We're going to talk about bad gaming experiences. I know we've probably had some at one point or another. Some we'd like to forget. Some definitely worse than others. So I'm sure we brought some bad games for this one. So I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with that. But you know, before we get into all this talk, I mean, I know we've already been letting loose before we started recording. But how y'all doing?
Yeah, fresh, man. Haircut. Just
Haircut. Sure,
getting it.
we know you're fresh, Matt.
In all, I'm glad it's clearly visible. But no, it's a big thing. Like haircuts haven't been possible for a long time in Melbourne and Sydney and our respective states, and they only opened up like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it's things are looking up on this end of the world. It's good.
That's excellent, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
F man, how you feeling? How you been living?
Living too good, man. The
Living
world
too good.
just been treating me right. So I mean, works good. Let's keep it that way. Holidays are coming up.
Holidays,
You know,
yes.
and then we
There's
got
enough
big.
video games to play.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
definitely.
I
Oh
can't wait to
man.
talk about that later. Just
Oh
just
yeah,
saying.
for sure.
I think we're all in that boat. Can we just skip to the games
Oh
and that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
playing?
Let's just skip to the games. Yeah, no. We always like to save the best for last, right? That's why
Yeah,
we do it at the end of the
absolutely.
show.
But yeah, I'm doing well, and I'll just keep it at that.
All right, sounds good. As for myself, I'm doing pretty good. Definitely just got off work a bit ago, so I'm feeling good. It's my weekend. Saturday night here in Southern California where I'm at. So, man, just excited to be recording. I'm excited to be with you guys and the rest of the Game and Watch crew who's either listening or watching. What up? Just definitely. I mean, if you haven't been on the show yet, we hope to have you on the show very soon. And it's just getting more exciting the more and more we progress through this. All right, so let's get into a bit of the gaming news call outs. Just so for the most part, let's get started with this story. We got more delays. Another delay, unfortunately. Well, it's going into 2023 now. Overwatch and Diablo 4 delayed into the distant future. So they say 2023, but then the next year it'll probably be 2024. I mean, if it's not one delay, it's another. I
Well,
know.
let's be honest here. The delays are embroiled in a number of other things going on with Activision Blizzard at the moment.
Yeah.
They're in the news every single week for one reason or another. And I'm not sure if it was on a previous podcast because it's been a little while since I've been on an episode, but BlizzCon was isn't
Canceled.
going ahead for the next one, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they're kind of pulling things back a little bit, and I think they're trying to create a bit of space for this stuff to just iron itself out a little bit. So
Yeah.
not much of a surprise on that front, at least.
Yeah, I mean, how do you delay something you didn't even have release dates for?
Yeah.
There's no release dates for these games. So I mean, it's like, oh, we could assume that they were going to come out in 2022, but what does this mean? Like, does this mean that they're being pushed back to later in 2022? Does this mean they're being pushed back to 2023, 2024? I don't know, but either way, like if the development teams get more times to like polish these games out, I mean, the Diablo 2 remake just came out, so I mean, maybe that didn't do as well as they thought. Maybe that had something to do with it, and who's really to say? And yeah, of course, everything that's been going on. Yeah, Activision Blizzard has been in the news, like you said, every week. So yeah, this isn't a surprise. I'm kind of just weird about it because I'm just like, okay, that's cool that they were delayed. I mean, can we get at least a delayed date since we'd never even got the release date? Like,
I'd
but
say they'd be tentative about setting any kind of date,
yeah,
just based on what's going on. But the biggest one there that people would be anticipating the most would be Diablo 4, I think,
Yeah, Diablo
because
4.
it's been since around 2012, I think, that Diablo 3 came out. And I think probably for the last 5 or 6 years, people have been hanging on for that fourth installment. Even though I played Diablo 3 for actually, I bought it the day it came out. I remember where I was at the time. But over the years, I've picked it up and dropped it because they've kept deploying more and more content for it. And it's all been free, which is great.
Yeah.
But people have been anticipating the next chapter of the story,
Yeah.
and like a different model of gameplay. And they were kind of teased for that with the Diablo 2 remaster. So it's probably a bit more of they said it a bit too early and now people are hungry for it.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like you are, Finest, I think. And yeah, it's just any longer is just too much longer still, no matter what they say.
What I wonder about this is, with these delays that are happening, I'm wondering because at least for Overwatch, with it being delayed and that being such a like kind of living game model where they do constant updates. I wonder if that means they'll maybe do like actually incorporate some updates to the game, since it is an esports game, and it is a game that was constantly being updated, but since the new one was coming out, they like chose not to update it anymore. They kind of killed it off in more or less of a sense. So I just wonder if they're going to kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, hey, we're going to go ahead and get some more updates out for this game. Additionally, through all the Huma Baru, whatever the stuff's that's been going on. Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Hullabaloo.
See, my vocabulary is not there, but yes, you guys know what I'm talking about. This is why we podcast together. Diablo 4 lost its director and lead designer over this last summer, and Overwatch 2 lost its executive producer in September. So, I mean, there's just a myriad of things that are going on within those walls that are contributing factors to these games being delayed. But there's not too many games that I see delayed that come out in a worse state, or I guess we would never know anyway. But they generally come out in a pretty good state, review pretty well, and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my thing is definitely, Blizzard, they've been having a lot of problems, and that's probably just attributing to the reason why we're seeing these delays. And I mean, it's crappy to see what's going on.
Let's call it out
fun.
directly that sexual misconduct, a lot of gender bias in that office, lots of stuff happening within the company.
It's ugly. It's not fun, and it's sexual harassment is very wrong in the workplace, and just right now they're just everywhere. But just right now I think they're just just getting what they pay for, and just these are the results of these guys' actions, and just gotta hold them accountable for that. So doesn't mean that there are people out there that will never play a Blizzard game ever again. I mean, there probably are. I mean, but the thing is, like, you don't want to hold the developers accountable for something they didn't do, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Don't take it out on the developers. If it's a series you actually like if you love the Overwatch series, if you love Diablo, still go out and get the game. I encourage you guys to. I mean, I would, but but if you have your reasons, you have your reasons, and and it's just a shame. But hopefully, they get it together over at Blizzard. They get through this dark hole that they're in right now, and hopefully, we do see them make good
change.
Some change, and with whenever Overwatch 2 does come out, hopefully, it's a good game. Same with Diablo 4. Just we hope that they're good games, and we just see change in the workplace with what they're doing there.
If you want to go even a step further, you can go apply for a job at Blizzard or Activision, and then help that change come along. So
definitely
work it from the inside out. If you really instead of bitching about it on the sideline and saying you're not going to buy their games, or you're going to ban them or not watch their videos, you can go get a job there and then affect the workplace and make it better. I doubt you're going to do that, but
well, someone with good project management experience maybe could jump in that co-lead position. They had two lead positions that were working cooperatively with each other, and one of them has left after 2 months. Jen O'Neill. She's moved on to what she says is bigger and better things, but you have to ask why that position would be vacated so quickly amongst all the things happening. But look, if they're making that top spot available, that would be the perfect place to do that kind of stuff from. It's a good positive way to look at it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. All right, well, let's get on to some lighter news. You guys like video game movies, right? Well, if they're good anyway.
No, I never said I like video game movies.
I like a good one.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess Nintendo has announced another movie with one of its characters, and a Donkey Kong movie is in the works. It's going to star Seth Rogen, so we take it it's going to be the same Donkey Kong that's going to be in the Mario movie. Now we wonder if
Yep.
Mario will make an appearance in the Donkey Kong movie. I have my theories on this, and it's kind of it's a little silly, but I think Nintendo is going to go the Marvel route with this. They're going to get all their big first party IPs. Like next, we'll see probably Link from The Legend of Zelda. Maybe we'll see Samus from Metroid. We'll see Star Fox, and then
Are you
eventually
saying there's going to
they'll
be a Mario Party movie?
yeah, it could be, or no, not a Mario Party. You're
Sorry,
close.
keep going.
No. I think eventually there's going to be a Super Smash Brothers movie where all these villains get together and then,
Beat the hell.
beat the hell out of their foes. Link versus Ganon, Mario versus Bowser, Donkey Kong versus King K. Rool if Microsoft lets them use them. Just
Yeah.
I mean that's my theory behind it. I mean, you never know. I mean, but Donkey Kong and Mario, they've crossed paths even before Super Smash Bros. For the most part. I mean, that was well, Mario's original name was Jumpman, and he was the Jumpman in Donkey Kong. So, but I mean, what's your guys' takes? I mean, I know mine's a little silly, but
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah, no, I can definitely possibly see Nintendo going the Marvel route. I mean, um, they've been slowly leaning out their IPs to more and more people, and slowly getting more exposure in different avenues of the market. But yeah, I can, yeah, I can see that. The Donkey Kong movie was, a little bit of a surprise. You know,
To be honest, I'm not surprised. I
no,
think because it's Seth Rogen who's doing the Donkey Kong voice
like
acting.
who?
Uh,
Seth Rogen.
Green Knight. Sorry,
Green Hornet.
have I gone with a soft G? Is that what you're having trouble with?
No,
Different
no, no.
culture, guys. Get
I
over it.
know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you didn't pull me up on splitting between Diablo and Diablo then, so I'm just going to keep going. But I think getting him in a booth to deliver lines for a movie is going to be hard. Like, he's an incredibly difficult person to lock down for a big value project. So I'd say they've got him doing the Mario movie for whatever small segment he's got, and while they've got time for him in the booth, they're going to do the Donkey Kong movie as well, and then maybe do some ADR
Yeah, that makes
afterwards if they
sense.
need to. I think they're trying to make
Yeah,
the
that
most of
makes
their
sense.
time.
Yeah. I mean, Disney's not playing around. Or it's not Disney. Nintendo's
Nintendo.
not playing. Nintendo's not playing around. They have the creators of Despicable Me doing or creating this movie. So I mean, just on top of like all the A-list voice actors that they already got for the Mario movie and so forth, and then they got Despicable Me, which was a critical success. Minions are infamous amongst pretty much all across the world. Like Rabbids, even more so than Rabbids actually. So yeah, I can definitely see this movie just being a hit based on the fact that it's Donkey Kong. But I don't know.
It's
I feel
on
like
like Donkey Kong. No, let's
I don't know. I just don't. I think Mario needs to be in the movie for it to succeed on a higher level, on like on the top tier level that they want. I feel like Donkey Kong's popular, but I don't think Donkey Kong's is that like I don't think it's that popular to like have a solo movie and for it to like sell, let's just say $1 billion, like a Marvel movie or anything like that. I can
Yeah.
see it. I could see it making a decent amount, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess.
So you think Mario will make an appearance in the movie, or for it to get the higher levels, you think Mario should make a appearance in the movie or have a small part?
Both. Both.
Both.
I
Okay.
think he will. I think he'll at least be in there for a little bit. I mean, yeah, I think Mario. Well, I honestly don't know. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares what I think? Yeah.
It would make sense. Like the
It would
Lego
make
movie even
sense.
had Lego Batman as a spin-off, right? And it kind of appears in both. Have I got that completely wrong?
I don't know. I watched the Lego movie, but I wasn't really watching. Like, so
Okay.
I don't quite remember.
Well, again, Chris Pratt was the head guy in the the Lego Movie too. But anyway, yeah, I think that cross promotion is going to be super important to get it going. And I
Yeah.
was just thinking there that there's two aspects that you kind of have to balance with a video game movie. It's targeting the audience who's just going to go and watch knowing nothing, and the nostalgia or the recognition factor for people who've played it before. And like, it seems hard to get a balance of those two with Donkey Kong, because it's known to be a game that is played that is sometimes incredibly hard, or it has an element to the interactivity that's a bit different. But you don't go, Donkey Kong, oh yeah, the guy that does this thing or sounds like this. Like, all I remember is the Mario Kart 64 noise that he makes, which is like or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like nothing
You're right on
recognizable
it.
except the DK rap. Do you guys know that one?
Yeah. Then Donkey Kong 64, the DK rap. Yeah, I remember the DK rap. Yeah. I forget the lyrics, but I do remember. Like, if it were to come on, I'd be like, oh yeah, the DK rap.
I
But
think I faintly remember it, but no, I'm not entirely
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, but like you said, Matt, yeah, just they have to target the people who are just gonna go see it, like the parents and stuff, so they enjoy it, and then the people who are going to go see it for the nostalgia factor. And I think Sega knocked it out of the park with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They made a good movie. Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, they did a great job. So if they can go with that formula, I think not only the Donkey Kong movie, the Mario movie too, they'll be in good hands. But I mean, I'm already thinking the Mario movie is going to be better than the movie we like to forget about that came out in 1993. What was it? But
Apple. That's like comparing apples and
Watermelons.
pineapples, stones,
yeah.
oranges.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
that's that.
I just had to put that out there. But well, speaking of Sega, it looks like they have a new alliance with Microsoft to explore cloud gaming. So they are going to let's see, where's the article here? Here it is. Yeah, just looks like they're having news with Microsoft, and it just I read this article. Um, is Microsoft going to buy Sega? Are they? Are they going to make a bid for another Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Are they? What do you guys think?
There
Do you
already
think
is. You're the
you
one who
think
said
Sega's
that.
on
Isn't there
What's
already
up?
another Sonic the Hedgehog movie underway anyway?
Yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, there is. But yeah,
Yeah.
just but what do you think? Well, what are you saying?
See, I read this article too, and I need you guys to clarify this for me. In reading it,
Mm,
there wasn't much in there that I pulled up. By the way, for anyone listening, this is an article on Reuters. Am I
mm-hmm.
saying that right? Because I say routers
Reuters.
and some people say routers. Anyway, on Reuters, they are talking about Sega potentially leveraging the Azure platform, which is Microsoft's cloud services, but there's only few references to the Xbox platform in there. So is it just saying that it's just using the cloud services delivered by Microsoft to uh, as a platform for their cloud gaming adventures, or
Yep.
are they talking directly with Xbox and saying we'd like to use xCloud as a means to house our cloud gaming experience?
Well, so xCloud and xCloud runs off Azure, which is Xbox's servers
Yeah,
and everything. So, but yeah, that's essentially all they're saying, that Sega's teaming up with Xbox in order to run their new games or game that they're planning on their cloud service network. So there's nothing. There's nothing in saying that this is like exclusive to Xbox. This is nothing saying that like um, that this is a direct partnership in any particular way.
yeah,
But everyone's speculating that much. You know, Xbox has just been there was the talks of Xbox purchasing Sega prior to
Mm.
this, and then there
It's
was
been a rumor for
also
years now.
yeah,
mm,
and there was just yeah, there was just those rumors and everything. But I mean, Sega could be like, hey, like we'll make an exclusive game for you if let us make those servers, doing a partnership like that. But we don't know. I mean, there's so many servers are needed. Like servers are needed. I mean, basically you buy them off of Facebook or you buy them off of Microsoft. And it just
Or
makes,
Amazon.
or
Or
Amazon. That's right.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Upgrade on Amazon.
So I mean, it just makes sense for Sega to use Microsoft. I mean, even Sony earlier this year or late last year was in talks with Microsoft about using their servers, the Azure platform. So we haven't seen anything come to fruition from that. So I wouldn't expect, I'm not going to go ahead and just be like, oh yeah, Sega and Microsoft are in cahoots. This is definitely like a kind of wait and see moment. But yeah,
I
I don't
agree.
know.
Because
Yeah,
it's purely like that. The way that Amazon has infiltrated every single market on the planet
oh
becomes
yeah.
clear when AWS services has a failure, and big companies like Google and I don't know Microsoft, like massive tech conglomerates, have their servers drop out, and that's when you realize that they're using AWS to house their content on the web as
That
well.
that's crazy. It really is
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, you would think that an online retailer that used to just sell books would get to this level. I mean, that's just it's unbelievable if you really look at it. Like, I know the money, but I mean, still, like, I never thought Amazon would get to this heights. Not 20 years ago, but I mean, they have, and I mean, what can I say? They're taking over the world. Just people love them. Not only the
yeah.
products they sell, but their web services, all just everything that they're doing. But yeah, well, I'm getting way off topic here, but
Yeah, to bring it back around, I think Microsoft's got a more direct approach, that their heart is in the right place. They're not just selling to anybody who'll buy. Like there's an article about a relationship they're establishing with this company in gaming who's looking to purchase the use of their cloud platform. I think it means that the relationships are being established there, and they're looking to make good on that to, you know, create a partnership, not in so many words, but to make them both look good. They're not just keeping it behind closed doors and saying, "Oh, it's on Azure services." Just keep that
yeah,
under your hat.
yeah,
It's a public thing.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, anyway, um, so let's talk about a video game now. Elden Ring. I saw 15 minutes of gameplay and it looked good. Like yeah, it's
Yeah,
looking really, really good. I know, Matt, you're itching to talk about this. You wanna jump in?
yeah, for sure. For any that haven't been keeping up, it's been teased for the last few years through the Game Awards. I think once a year that happens, there tends to be some sort of slight reveal about Elden Ring. It's a FromSoft game done in collaboration with George R. Martin and a few other people in order to do the narrative and the characters and all that stuff. And in that 15-minute gameplay that's on the YouTube channel at the moment and on every new service you can imagine, you see all of those elements start to emerge as well. You've got the standard Dark Souls, Bloodborne, FromSoft style gameplay in there. You've got some massive sprawling environments that are Breath of the Wild esque. It's like they looked at the roadmap for that thing, and even the map placing beacons and adding markers to it is exactly like that upgrade that Breath of the Wild got just after it was released. Um, just the way it looks, like the spectacle of it, the ability for co-op gameplay in a FromSoft game, which is unheard of in the past, unless you were trying to completely ruin somebody's day. Um, just it's they're making a big sell, that they've put a big product out there, and I've got a feeling they'll be able to cash those checks once it does come out. It's looking really good.
Do you know if this is going to be just for PC or is it going to be coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X or S? Or
I don't know specifically. I think it's going to have, at the very least, a dual release on PC and PlayStation,
mm-hmm.
though we're in a world where crossplay is a thing, so they could be looking to release on other platforms as well. But in the past, FromSoft games have exclusively been on PlayStation before they've gone anywhere else, and even PC.
Even
PC trailed a bit with Dark Souls.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if it does go to the Switch, we'd see a cloud version, just like some of the other games out right now for it. But
Look, it probably would end up on cloud before it gets released as a Switch title, but I don't know if Switch would be able to do it justice. If you have a look at the trailer that they've got out there, that 15 minutes of gameplay, um, you're going to be able to see that just the detail, getting stuck into that detail and the spectacle of it is going to be really hard to do on a mobile phone sized screen. And if all you can get out of the Switch is your regular upscaled 720p on a television, that's still not going to do it justice either.
no, not at all.
Fidelity, and you've got a recipe for a lack of appreciation for the full experience. So I'd say they might stick to PlayStation or um, PlayStation and PC, and that's it to start out with. But you never know. We'll have to see
Yeah.
where they.
I remember watching the earlier trailer that they showed, I believe earlier this year, for the game, and I was not impressed. I was actually a little bit worried about the game, but coming into this gameplay and just seeing it, I was absolutely blown away. It
Yeah.
very much
incredible.
reminded me of Dungeons and Dragons, but like this is like finally it realized in its like true form. You know, there were, I mean, of course, I don't believe what we saw was final gameplay, of course. You know, they're still working on the game, you know, so there was a couple collision things that I was like, but more or less, like I was amazed by the graphics, the gameplay. I'm super excited that there's co-op in it because I'm not big in I haven't been big in like Elden Ring games or like more Soulsy types games and everything. But this has definitely captured my eye. It very much reminded me of like next level Witcher.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to fight dragons. I'm excited to get in my ox that has a double jump and roam
Oh yeah.
around the
No.
countryside.
Yes. I
Uh,
love the jumping horse or the jumping ox. Or that was
Yeah,
pretty
see.
incredible. Yeah, that thing just you're going to the cliff, just like, hey, you want to get to this platform? Just jump jump that very high. That was just like,
yeah.
They call that out
wow.
as part of the video as well. They say that there's verticality to the game that adds those extra dimensions to it and can aid in transitioning environments as well.
Yeah,
It's
and you saw
really
that in the
interesting.
draw distance, like when you were
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
off into like the furthest reaches of the mountains and everything. It was very much that Skyrim type of feel where you're just like, I can go there, and I'm gonna go there, and
Yeah.
I'm on my way there now, and I'm just gonna find the path, and I'm gonna go through all these caverns and caves. And the only problem is, like, you better hope you don't get sidetracked, because I can very much see that being a possibility with just a game so open and as thralling as this. But yeah, it really does look amazing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It does. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, it does definitely remind me of Breath of the Wild, where it's just like seems like you could just go anywhere. It's like, all right, where to begin? I mean, I think maybe like some gamers out there want that little bit of guidance, but kind of reminds me a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima, where it's just like they give you like maybe a little bit of guidance, and after that, it's just like you're on your own. Just do what you want, like.
Well,
And so,
that's a
so it's
big
just like you pretty
component
much
of
just got
this
to figure
trailer as
that.
well. Big component of this trailer is that there is no HUD anywhere except for a little bar that's probably a compass that we can see on the video version of the podcast right now, right at the top in the middle of the screen. There's um, no button prompts for where you'd see your flask or items. There doesn't seem to be any weapon visibility for your button options either. There was no HUD there,
Mm.
so it could very much be just a very clean experience as well. It's yeah, it's
if
promising a
anything
lot.
did bother me, this map is probably the most scary thing to me. Just looking at them scroll through this right now, I'm just like, oh, like I don't want to do maps and checkpoints. And I'm sure there's going to be a fast travel system. There has to be, or you're going to be able to jump on a
See,
dragon or mount. But
I don't
I would
reckon they
hope.
will.
no,
I don't
I
reckon
would
they'll do
hope.
it, man. Having a
oh
map
man,
is unique to this compared to Dark Souls games. Like you
yeah,
kind of have to know where you're going when you play a Dark Souls game. Same with Bloodborne. generally those environments are quite small and they're almost like corridors,
Yeah.
except where they sprawl out into other areas for those past games. But they've never had a map before.
But
So
Well,
this game is
yeah,
huge.
yeah, maybe not like fast travel as in like, oh, you click here and then you just end up here. Like I can see it very much like being like, oh, like here's this like warp tunnel or portal through this like only this one spot on the map and it takes you here. And then in order to get to these other spots, like I don't know, you have to go through these other particular warp portals or done. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not big on Elder. I hope there is because I mean, man, that would be a deterrent for me. Just knowing I have to. There's only like a few ways to get there. But if there's a mountain system, I'm all about that. Like yeah, totally put me on top of some flying phoenix bird or dragon or something to get to
Yeah.
point A to point B, and I'm fine with that. But traversal in these type of third person fiction type of games is definitely one of those things that can like kind of put me off personally.
if they can make it fun like Spider-Man was, then yes, like you
Yes.
wanna
Yeah.
swing
Explore
through
everything.
the city for 5 minutes to get to where you're going in that one.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
it had the option of fast travel too.
Yeah, but yeah, with this game, the combat looks good. I mean, it looks clean. It's probably going to take over 100 hours to beat the game, or maybe even 200 hours for like a full like complete. If you're for any completionists out there, it just looks like there's going to be a lot to do, a lot of side quests, and like you said, Finest, you can probably get distracted very easily playing this game. You can just go on a quest that it's not part of the main quest, but hey, who knows? Maybe that's just part of the game. Just just
And
exploring.
the trailer, the character builds, the amount of character builds, and just the powers that they showed and the customization was absolutely it was insane. So it looks like you can play almost as but kind of like anything you want to be, whether that be like your more general tropes like Final Fantasy 14, like white mages, red mages, necromancers, and so forth. It seems like they're going to have more or less kind of all those type of builds, all those type of characters. But it looks like I don't know if that's going to be more like weapon loadout based or if that's going to be like specced out more or like how you get to
So
those. But
the
Yeah.
common way to approach this in a Dark Souls game, for example, is that you pick a class at the beginning that will have a number of stats available to it, and then you can do whatever you want to at that point. But there's going to be a preference that class will have for how you approach the game going forward.
Yeah.
But it gets as silly as dual wielding necromancy and like red spells, all the way down to running around half naked with a shield and a sword, sprinting across the map trying to kill stuff. Like there's a lot of flexibility for players who want to really exercise it.
I want to see that silly side. That doesn't mean I
Yeah.
necessarily want to see a naked person running through the game, but
I
very
guarantee
popular
you
in
the
Japanese games.
speedrunners
Yeah.
will pick this up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, they're going to want to see how far they can get to this game in the least amount of time. Definitely, speedrunners will be all over it. But I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to be putting naked dudes in this game. Like, I don't think they're going to give it the Saints Row
Not
twist or anything like that.
not full naked. We're talking like
Yeah,
loincloth. Because
underwear. Yeah.
the idea was
I mean,
encumbrance. So if you had
yeah.
full
Well, I mean,
ironclad,
yeah.
then you were going to be heavy and it would be slower to run. But if you had nothing on, you could like just fast sprint everywhere and you'd be faster than everything. But of course, you
You'd
get hit
probably be getting
once
hurt a
and
lot too.
Do you guys do you guys think I know this has already been talked about like in the past and they kind of like distance themselves, but do you think the fact that George R. R. Martin had an influence in the very early beginnings of this game, do you think that'll affect sales of this game at all?
I'd say it'll affect things if they announce a sequel, because there's
Maybe.
going to be all
I
the
don't think
memes out
so.
there that say uh, George hasn't written the sixth Game of Thrones book yet, but when are we going to see that second Elden Ring in 50 years? No,
Yeah.
I'd say it having George involved adds to that high fantasy that you mentioned, and is just going to improve the experience. I'd say he'd be happy to delay the Winds of Winter for a little bit longer to work on Elden Ring 2 if it became a thing.
Well, I know, yeah, it's just in that series particular, like HBO already has like 5 series working for that.
And he
So
co-writes them too.
yeah,
He contributes.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I think him being in it's only a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think much will come of it personally. I mean, I don't think it'll affect the sales, but you never know. I mean, we'll have to see how it does when it comes out. We'll look at those numbers and see if that had an effect on it or not. But I think it's going to do great whenever it comes out. I don't
Yeah, I
think
might
there's
I might have to pick this up, just my first Elden Ring game.
any word on when it's supposed to come out, or no date's been announced yet, or
Currently, it seems to be announced for February next year on the 22nd. Actually,
February.
funnily enough, when you asked, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
Oh,
So
okay.
coming out to Xbox as well.
Coming to Xbox as well. All right, definitely. We'll definitely keep this. Will definitely be a game to keep an eye on. So definitely keep listening as more footage of it comes out. We sure will be covering it. All right. So wanted to talk about this next story here. Yeah. So I like to we keep going over this again and again in the podcast. Do not submit to scalpers, do not buy from scalpers, and do not buy from scalpers. And here's an interesting story why we should not buy from scalpers. There was a heist that was a truck heist where GPU units were stolen. And now I know this doesn't really relate to video games or well, I guess if you're thinking GTA 5 or Payday or maybe even like the Fast and the Furious movies, I guess it
Give me the
can
heist
relate
bit.
to the heist. Yeah, so
The actual movie called The Heist. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like graphics cards, man. It's games on cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's just ridiculous. So apparently in Southern California, there was a truck heist and over a lot of units were stolen. Let's see, it was Nvidia's let's see, EVGA, EVGA GeForce RTX 30 series graphics cards. Pretty much they range from $330 to about $1,959.99, almost $2,000.
So that's
And
the lowest, the 3060, all the way up to the 3090.
yeah, they're pretty much saying that RTX 3090s probably also been heist. So one thing is, so if you guys are trying to buy these cards from a scalper, be careful because they might be flagged. You probably won't be able to register if you try to register them, and you might get a visit from the authorities. And I don't think a lot of these scalpers have money back guarantees, so you probably won't be able to even get your money back from them, even if it is flagged. So be careful. I mean, and this could happen, and I joke about this a lot. How'd you get your Xbox Series X or your PS5? It fell off the back of a truck. So yeah,
Whereas in this
just
case,
be
it fell
careful.
out of the back of the truck into someone else's truck.
Yeah, pretty much, or motorcycle, or however they pulled this off. But I mean, this is what do you guys think of this? A heist to steal graphics cards.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it's a smart move. I mean, if you're gonna steal anything, why steal try to steal like a truck full of cash? Why not steal a truck full of graphics cards that can be that are hard to trace and that the only way you're gonna know what they are is by the serial number. Not that I'm promoting crime in any form or fashion, but damn, like yeah, they made out and. I hope they get caught, because
I
that's
hope so
less
too.
graphics cards to the consumers who can't get graphics cards already. But yeah, I don't know. It's crime. It's crime. Crime doesn't pay.
Yeah,
Dare.
crime does not pay.
Do you guys have Dare in Australia?
Yeah,
Have what?
Dare?
You're going to have to enlighten me. I mean, we
What
dare
is-
people to do stuff. Is that what
Oh,
you mean?
okay. No. It's like a drug. It's a drug program and stuff like that. But no,
Oh,
it.
I'm aware of the
Oh,
American
dare.
idioms around them.
Drug
You were doing,
abuse resistance.
wasn't that the
Drug
there was an
abuse
X?
resistance education.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, ours
Yeah.
is just don't do it, Matt. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do.
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm sure we got a program with something that's similar. But
Yeah,
look,
I
it's
think for us it was Gap and Dare. Yeah.
yeah. Look, acronyms, super fun.
OVG. OVG.
OBG.
OVG.
Yeah.
OVG.
It's going to say, speaking of acronym, these GPUs, it's probably wise if they weren't going to sell them on when they procured them and stole them, that they would instead use them for something like crypto mining, because having all that power for free and not selling it on means they're less likely to get caught for something that will take a lot of energy expenditure to get done anyway. The key component there would be to ensure that they can crack the limiters that NVIDIA puts on their cards to prevent access to the full capacity of the card when they're trying to use it for crypto mining. I think there's been a few stories out already of crypto miners managing to crack that and sending that round on the internet. So, look, steal graphics cards is the easiest way to get one these days. So, do what you got to do, but don't do crime.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just leave it at
I
that.
mean, yeah. I mean, it just seems like.
Can you repeat that real quick, Matt? Just about the best way. Just
Do what you got to do.
Uh-huh.
Don't do crime.
Oh, dang it. Okay. I got that part already. Okay.
You might have to listen to the replay there, but
I'll go to YouTube and listen back, and I'll also listen to the audio version.
yeah,
Feel free to
for
quote
sure.
me.
Yeah. I mean, it just yeah. I mean, with the chip shortages right now, I mean, I guess stealing them might be the best way, but I'm not going to promote any crime or anything, but do what you got to do. But I mean, if you can buy them the right way, be
Don't do crime.
patient. Yeah, don't do crime.
Don't do crime.
Yeah, don't do crime.
Yeah. If her name is
Hashtag
crime,
OVG.
definitely don't do her.
On a serious note, though, them
Yeah.
stealing these is not fixing the graphics card availability problem. Just
Yeah.
because someone else has got them that's more willing to sell them to you, they're actually removing stock from the market that's legitimate, and there's less people now that can buy those graphics cards.
Yeah.
And it may inflate prices still. Like it.
Yeah, it may even go higher. So I'm scared to see what it's going to look like next week, especially since I'm in the market for a new computer, definitely. So this hurts me. But speaking of chip shortages, they're catching up with Nintendo now. So it's looking like that. The amount of Switches that they want to sell went from what was it, 30 million to 24 million, and that's simply because just the chip shortages, just not enough microchips out there to produce enough switches. And yeah, it's starting to finally catch up with Nintendo, and I think we saw it with the OLED model as well. And the Switch OLED model, it did a lot better than I thought. It sold out. You can't find that anywhere. Like the only Switch I've been able to find was just the old one when I was walking around in my local Target, and who knows if that's even still there. Probably not. Right now, just consoles are hard to come by, and it's looking like the Switch is going to be harder to come by as well. And with us coming into the holiday season, it's looking like it's going to be a tough Christmas if you want a video game console, whether it be a Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X or S. What are you guys' thoughts on Nintendo / Switch production?
I have two major thoughts.
Two
The
major ones.
First is that I'm very happy that they're being upfront with this. Of course, it manages user expectations, consumer expectations, because when they go out and they can't get their Nintendo Switches, they're going to know why. That's a good thing. Second thing is that they're the last console maker in the market to announce a chip shortage impacting their production. So that means that they had so much surplus stock to develop the consoles up to this point that they didn't have to worry about the shortage until now, which means they bought up a lot. which could have edged out the market for the other console makers and potentially mobile phone devices as well, considering the nature of the Switch. Those are my two big thoughts about it, at least in terms of the impact on the rest of the landscape for everyone else.
So, man, I wish I would have done a little more research into the type of actual chip that everyone's using, that the short, because my thing is, okay, so I was reading an article about Tesla and how they've been able to only improve their supply and how to raise their stocks and raise these and continue to sell an extreme amount of their vehicles. And that's because they basically they went to work, instead of just saying there's a chip shortage. They were like, okay, um let's let's buy a similar chip, and then they recode them in order to do the exact same thing that the previous chip was doing. And the reason why I bring that up is because I know there's chip shortages. Are like all companies using like the same similar chips? Because if it's the same chips that I've been reading about, at least for the automakers, it's an outdated chip. They're like old chips. Like, they're not necessarily chips that, like, Matt, you see, I see something bubbling in there. Can you enlighten me? Do you have something?
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about there with Tesla. I think it was a few months ago they announced that they're like, you guys don't have to worry. We're building up our platform from the ground up on this old chip that is in abundance, so we can keep rolling out our Teslas. But it's not just a transactional element where people have chips, they make chips, you get the chips and do the stuff. There's foundries where they make these chips in. They have to get components to build the chips. It takes time. There's also people from companies that reserve foundry time to make their products. And there's costs associated with all that too. Now, when you've got a foundry, a company that builds the chips, they have an order. That order's going to come in and they're going to keep building up. But there's an uptime and a downtime within that foundry as well, which means it takes and costs a lot of money for them to spool up, use the factory for whatever they need to build, and then spool down, change the components they need, change the design to the next company they have on the docket, and then they spool up again, and then they build even more. Now, if everybody used the same chips for everything, that would probably be a problem solved. This foundry would just never stop. But that's not the case. Not only do we have companies who are dialing back on the amount they can spend on chips, there's also a reduction in the amount of components being made available to these foundries, which means they can't meet the expectations that they're setting for people who have given them money to reserve time in this foundry to build those chips. So there's like a whole supply line working along there in order to get these products made. And anything that impacts in that supply line, like a global pandemic, for example, it's going to have a broadened impact. And we're only going to start seeing that impact as time goes on. Now, things like a pandemic is bad because there's a lot of production that goes on in China. China goes on lockdown. It's hard to get things in or out. Chip shortages. Also, lack of workers being able to work means the foundries can't operate, which means those chips can't get developed. Also, you've got gigantic, and excuse my French, but gigantic fuck off ships crashing in the middle of the Suez Canal and delaying all transport of materials to other parts of the world for like a week. That would have a broadened impact on this too. So I guess for the TLDR, in case anyone just skipped ahead to this point in the podcast after not wanting to listen to that really boring story, it's the supply chain to get to the point of having the chip and the money allocation and the resource allocation to get it built that makes it incredibly difficult.
Absolutely.
And,
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You got one more point or another point?
Oh, that was just the only thing I meant about Nintendo, it being a big deal that Nintendo had as much stock as they did to get to this point without having to declare a shortage, that they anticipated their needs so much. Like, this OLED was in the design phase and the production phase for as long as it was, that they had the stock available to them before these shortages came in. That's like a a very long bow. Like you can't even see the target when you're trying to shoot an arrow like that.
Yeah, you're shooting over a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean, definitely. It just, I mean,
So,
hopefully the chip shortages. I mean, they're probably not going to get better anytime soon. And
well,
uh,
I got a couple more points. Unless you, I'm sorry, Justin. What are you
oh,
saying?
if you had a couple more points, I had a question. So think of your points, and then I'll remember my question.
Oh, you already forgot your question? Okay.
No.
So, no, ask your question. Ask your question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I'll remember my
Stop
question.
being so polite. Just say the thing.
Okay.
Okay. Go first, Justin, please.
All right. Okay. Do you think that the Switch production will affect the numbers by the end of the year? Do you think it'll get the 101 or 102, 102 million to pass the Wii U? Out of curiosity,
No.
no.
I wouldn't be working with numbers that we any numbers that you've got that are built in a best case scenario. I wouldn't expect anything to go beyond those. To be honest,
Okay.
Yeah.
just managing expectations.
I mean, you're talking about like 9 million within like 2
Yeah.
months. I mean, I just don't see it happening with everything that's going on. And some of the things that are going on, at least here, some of the things that Matt was speaking to, but not necessarily, maybe not like directly to here, but in terms of like supply, demand, and everything. And I talked about this like a couple episodes back, is that because I grew up in this place, is San Pedro, which is the main port in Los Angeles. Most people consider it Long Beach. Long Beach is part of it. San Pedro, Long Beach connected, but we have hundreds of ships
Mm.
like sitting outside that harbor, just that cannot undock and unload containers.
Yeah.
On top of that, we don't have the truck drivers to get containers out fast enough because of everything that's going on, because of COVID, because people lost their jobs, because just the China, everything that happened in China, and being cut off from there for so long, and then people like outside companies, like companies have literally just gone outside, purchased their own, like not purchased, but rented their own ships that had them go directly to China, that were like outside of their normal funnels in order to pick up the supplies that they needed. And now there's hundreds of ships sitting outside in this Long Beach, San Pedro port. They literally were putting containers in the streets in my hometown of San Pedro. I was reading an article where like a truck driver was rounding a corner and the container wasn't strapped on correctly, and the container fell into a neighborhood car, like one of the cars in the neighborhood. It is so bad right now. So
It's
in
pretty
that
ugly down
respect,
on the harbor.
yeah, it is bad. Like, the containers are almost, they almost block out the sun. If you live like at ground level, like my mom and where I grew up, we lived on a hill, so we can see over the containers, but the containers are still like 50 plus feet in the air. They're like three stories high. So yeah, I definitely understand that. And my other point was just that I don't know if we covered this here in the podcast, but Sony is entering the market to produce chips, but we're not going to see that come to fruition because of all the things you just spoke about until 2024. And Jim Ryan spoke to that a couple weeks back also. And that, yeah, they're entering the market, and they're doing it with the largest chip maker in the world, or maybe in Taiwan, I forget. But yeah, we won't see that come to fruition. Hopefully in 2024 it does happen and it kind of eases things out. But I mean, I think Sony's making a good move just in looking at the long term. Because that means more than likely Nintendo will be using their chips. Microsoft, if they're still making consoles, will be using their chips. PCs will be using their chips, and anyone else.
Yeah.
And in the several markets that use chips. But I appreciate your insight, Matt, and just like explaining a little bit more that to me, because I was really confused. I'm just like, man, like, is everyone using like the same like chip? Like, yeah.
And it can get so complicated too. Like, there's a podcast I listen to regularly. It's called Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod. That's Brad Shoemaker and Will Smith. related to giant bomb stuff. Not that Will Smith.
I know.
Another Will Smith. Yeah, they talk to people quite on a regular basis about this stuff, and there's big stories like Intel is coming out with their new graphics card soon that they're building in-house, presumably in response to trying to get into the graphics card market, which is largely NVIDIA and AMD. But at the same time, Intel has also had its own foundries for the longest time, and now it's sold them on and is renting out foundry space in other places to make their chips. So there's a tit for tat and a to and fro with everything. And as more and more chip makers get into the market, the more they have to edge out people for that foundry time. It's going to be super interesting. I think the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, so hopefully the chip shortage is slowed down. I don't think it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Maybe 2023 would be the earliest, but even we just gotta just wait and see what happens with the chip shortages. But it seems like it's catching up to Nintendo. It's catching up to pretty much everyone that makes electronic devices, whether it be a gaming console, a monitor screen, laptop, computer, just name it.
Toaster.
All right. Yeah, toaster. All right, so Spider-Man comes to the Avengers. So we got some good news. The Avengers is getting a new character. Do you want the bad news? Ready for the bad news? Bad if you play that game on Microsoft or Nintendo, because it looks like Spider-Man is going to be a Sony exclusive. So
it's just going to be on PS5 and 4?
Yep. The PS5 and the PS4. It comes November 30th. And yeah, just but I mean, come on. Did we really think that Spider-Man was gonna go to the Xbox or Nintendo for the Avengers game? Let's be real about this.
Well, no, they already said that Spider-Man was going to be a timed or I don't know if it's timed exclusive or exclusive, but they already said that like half a year back when they first announced Spider-Man was coming to the Avengers. So I don't know what the shock is for people. Like I'm a little bit I'm a little bit confuddled. Is that the word? No,
could be one of those things where people don't maybe befuddled.
Befuddled, yeah, sure.
Up in that vocabulary this week. The anyone who's not familiar with the background of all this, like, okay, Sony and Paramount had Spider-Man for ages for the films, and then Marvel comes around, Disney buys Marvel, Disney has trouble with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man games from different producers and publishers, and the back and forth for all that stuff. Anyone without that background would probably be a bit surprised by this, or confused. But the thing that this makes me think of is back in the day when Soul Calibur had their exclusive releases depending on the console. They'd have extra characters. They had
Soul
Yoda
Calibur
for Xbox. What was it? Yoda and
Spawn.
Okay.
Wait, so I'm trying to remember. Like there's I feel like there's different ones. I feel like Xbox had Spawn. Nintendo had Link.
Yeah,
Nintendo and then
PlayStation had Heihachi.
Yes, from Taken. Yeah.
Tekken.
And I heard that too, but Tekken. Yeah.
Taken.
Taken. Okay. Taken.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Liam Neeson popped up in a fighting game somewhere. That would be awesome. But yeah, and it was probably across multiple games. That's all this makes me think of. Like giving a little bonus to the people who play on a certain console, who probably have played Spider-Man already. Like, just give them that. They road test it on one console, and if it works across the two, that's compelling, negotiation ammunition for them to go, look at how much money we made with the addition of Spider-Man here. What if we did it across other platforms? And they'd be like, yes, cha-ching, let's do it. I
don't think Spider-Man's IP that Sony's just going to give up. I mean, they jumped on it when they had the chance. They ran with it. They had success with the first 3 movies, some of the video games, and now these series of video games. It's just I just don't see it happening unless Disney, I think, would have to give up a lot to get that IP from Sony. But that's another story for another time. But I mean, it does make sense though, because I don't know if you guys remember in the Spider-Man video game, the Avengers Tower makes an appearance.
don't remember exactly
Yeah,
where.
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, that it's different. It's different to have a building in a game and then have a playable character. People
Yeah.
aren't, flocking to the game because the Avengers Towers in it. They're flocking into it because Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this, like I said, like this isn't a surprise. Like, yeah, it's for people that are unfamiliar with licensing rights and things like that. Yeah, it's going to be a total surprise. If you don't follow gaming. For us that follow gaming, yeah, it's expected. Crystal Dynamics, I mean, they've been struggling with this game in terms of getting this content out and supplying people with what they want for this game. And earlier this week, or was it maybe last week? Was it Square Enix said that this game was a disappointment.
It was. Yeah.
Um,
Did they?
yeah, yeah. So they said this game was a disappointment. They said in the future they will match the developers with games that are more in their wheelhouse. That's so I mean, yeah, it said they said that it didn't make as much as they would have liked, because a Marvel's license is pretty much like is almost like instant cash at this point, at this level, in this time in the world. But it's not guaranteed. You have to give people what they want, and them doing a live games as service with games like Destiny that came out, and just I don't know, like PUBG, Fortnite. I know those two are a little bit different, but yeah, like you got to give people what they want. And I think with Guardians of the Galaxy, made by
Square.
Eidos Montreal, whatever,
Hmm.
however you pronounce that. I think this is exactly what people like. If they would have did this formula with Marvel's Avengers, I feel like it would have been so much better. Yeah, you like with Guardians, like you still only play one character, and I feel like you still would have wanted to play multiple characters within the Avengers. But I feel like you could have did that through DLC. There's other options there. Maybe each one was like story based and it was based on the level, and then you get to play a certain character and then command other ones. That formula worked, and it's very Final Fantasy, 15 ish, and and those are the creators that made Deus Ex, and they made Thief. And so, I mean, coming to Guardians of the Galaxy, I was very hesitant, and I guess I'll go more into this later.
Yeah.
But just thinking about Marvel's Avengers, and I'm sure it made a ton of money. And I'm sure when the Black Panther content that they have on the roadmap comes out, it'll make even more money. Like people will hop back in. They recently raised the level cap to 175. They're making steps in the right direction. I definitely just feel like this game could use more time in the oven. And I think I just think they could have like looked at the market a little bit more instead of putting the game out and feeling like it was possibly going to succeed because it had a Marvel name on it.
Mhm.
They
But
maybe
yeah,
oversold it a little bit.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they just went with the name like, oh, it's Avengers, it'll sell. Like, I think it just teaches them don't put out crap. Like, make sure it's ready before you put it out. You
yeah,
know.
and no, I don't even think they put out crap. I think they believed in their vision. Like,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
in terms of like you have to have in order like just playing Destiny for so many years, you have to have a like a consistent loop in order to draw people in. And with this game, the like you can build power, but the look and the aesthetics are costumes, and it's not tied to gear.
Hmm.
So you can get gear, and then you have it, and it doesn't change the look of your character. It doesn't do anything for your character. So you put it on and you don't even notice it. Like, yeah,
So
it
it's
changed.
like they didn't learn from the Division and they didn't learn from Destiny.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
they
the
just kind of
division.
went
Oh.
full basic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. You have to like you have to take from the market the people that are making money off of these games, and kind of build around that, and incorporate the best parts of those games in your games, and build up. And they didn't do that. They decided to go a completely different route. and they failed in some respects. So hopefully the game has gotten better through many updates, but they've delayed all their content, all their extra content, and that's what we're seeing here. Spider-Man was supposed to come out a couple months after the initial game came out. It was supposed to come out like 4 months after the initial game came out. So,
well, as somebody who just downloaded all 130 gigabytes of the Avengers game 2 days ago, I'm really hoping it looks pretty good. But yeah, look, we just got to set our expectations, I guess. Based on that.
It is a pretty big file from what I've been hearing.
I hear the story's great though. It's just when you get to that later, that tail end content that's supposed to keep you going, like months and years after you beat the single player. That's the part that is falling off, you know. And I'm sure they spent a lot of money, you know, maybe getting that license. I don't know how that worked, but even more employing the people to keep this game going all this time. And when you weigh that out with how much the money the game actually made, I'm sure it's not as much as they would have wanted.
Yeah. All right. Very well. So moving on to our last set of stories, the Nintendo Switch online service and the N64 controller. So if you want to play N64 games on the Nintendo Switch online, from what, you know, all the stories I've been reading on this, is the best way to really do this is, you know, to have an N64 controller if you can find one, because once again, you're gonna have to go through scalpers if you want this for the holiday season, as Nintendo has completely sold out of them. But Nintendo has made a response to improving the service to shareholders at one of their recent meetings, and they said that they are going to vow to make the Nintendo Switch online service better. And by that, I hope they mean improving the service, you know, adding voice chat to the console instead of your cell phone, and, you know, not having to use a third party application like Discord or something like that. And, you know, just making, you know, the service just overall better, especially if you want to be charging $50 for the thing. So, I mean, with that being said, you know, just Nintendo. I mean, I know we keep talking about this every day, but Nintendo does vow to improve their service, and hopefully they can improve the service by getting some more of those N64 controllers in stock, you know, instead of us having to go through scalpers, you know. But what do you guys' thoughts on it?
I don't have a Switch. Not really motivated to get one based on this either, but from what I heard, the reason you want an N64 controller is because the standard Switch Joy-Con button mapping for N64 games was horrible.
Yeah, right? It is. Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah. So if that's what's driving the sale of this product, that's probably not what they anticipated at all.
No, I don't think so. It's not. Yeah. They really just need to put. I don't see how hard it is to just have the online application and just make the buttons mappable on a controller. I mean, it's 2021. They shouldn't be like.
Well, you're talking
science.
about emulating a game. I mean, of course, it's not going to be easy. You're talking about recoding, and Nintendo is infamous for just copy and paste. You know, the goal is the bottom line, and if they can like cut out like little extra things that they have to do in order to get the bottom line, like that's what matters. And of course, they're talking about like, yeah, we have to improve the service, but it's only because people are complaining, people are upset, and I'm sure the same thing. Like they didn't get as many upgraded services as they would have liked. I mean, this is.
I don't think they did. No.
You know, this is an investor call. This isn't even towards the public that's actually purchasing it. This isn't a promise to us. This is a promise to the people that are making money off of this, you know? So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and then, another funny thing, too. You know that YouTube video that they put out for the Nintendo Switch online expansion?
Mhm.
It is their most disliked video on YouTube. It passed it passed Metroid Federation. That's how bad this video.
Oh, I love Metroid Federation. Such a great game.
Well, people like to make their voices known, right? I mean, review bombing on Steam is a thing. I think Weren't we talking like a month and a half ago about how No Man's Sky has now ticked over into positive
Yeah,
after the review bombing
several
experience
years
they got?
later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
several.
Yeah.
That got review bombed hard when that came out.
Eternals right now is getting hit hard.
Oh,
Is that even
On
out
Returnal.
yet?
no, it came out. It came
Yeah,
out
it's out.
yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's out. It's out. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Marvel fanboys. But look, it's
Tell it like
I
it
can
is,
say
Matt.
that because I am one. The what was I going to say? I was going to say that reading between the lines here, they're doing a game service as a service, right? They've dropped this to hit their bottom line. They know people will pay for it. And they've been very sneaky and said you have to have the online service in order to buy this nostalgic controller. So that's going to push the sales for it. They're going to be people jumping on the platform straight away because they're keen to get into it. They're disappointed. Doesn't work as well. So now they spend a bit of that time and money working on it, and the service slowly improves. And thus, they can make consistent investor calls about improvements and keep making money. Like it's just an endless cycle. But the same way we just talked about Destiny and um, Avengers just then.
Mm.
It's all about how they continue that roadmap. It just feels exploitative when they do it in this way with this kind of platform, and for horrendous sums of money by comparison as well. Like there's no standard for this, right? They doubled the price to be able to buy into this platform, which
Yeah.
invariably is not good.
Yeah, but
Don't
I think
expect
that
improvements anytime soon.
yeah, I wouldn't either. And
Mm.
then and like you were saying, just I think the controller issue backfired on them. More people were getting it to play it the way it was meant to be played, not just because maybe some people it's a nostalgia factor. I mean, even if I do pay for the service, I'm still not buying that controller. It's the second worst controller ever made, in my opinion. But you know, I mean, people are flocking out the money to buy it. I think Nintendo was unprepared, and now they're paying the price because just as much as we keep hearing about how bad the N64 side of things is, we're not hearing really anything on the Genesis end. So, but then again, it's a 16-bit console. It's easier to emulate. There are a million and one other ways to play Genesis games.
You said a
That
lot
is
of stuff right there. Oh,
I
I'm
know.
sorry. But
no, no. Go ahead.
he said that it was the N64 was the second worst controller. I just want to know what was the first.
Virtual Boy.
Did that even? Okay, yeah, I
It
guess.
did.
Okay,
It
it
did.
did.
It did.
It had the controller connected to it. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to
Yeah.
think about it. Okay, I don't remember that controller being that bad though. But okay.
It had too deep. Yeah, just take a look and you'll be like, ugh. Look. All right.
Okay.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
I can't even remember. I'm looking at a picture of the Virtual Boy, and I'm like, this is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, seriously, I can't remember what I was going to say. I think I was going to try and point us towards a wrap up and just say, look, these things are what they are. Oh yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. When you said that there's 1,000 other ways to do it already, N64 is kind of the same too, even though it's a
Yeah.
harder one to emulate.
It's
But
harder
of
to
course,
emulate. Yeah.
harkening back to the tagline and hopefully the title of the episode, do what you got to do. Don't do crime.
Don't do crime.
Don't do crime.
Don't do crime. All
Don't
right.
do crime.
All right. So we're gonna get to the release rundown and what we're playing, but before we do that, I was just a little curious. I don't think us very many gamers talk about the bad experiences we have in gaming. Whether it was just a bad playthrough of a game or just like you play a game as a kid and it's just like, what the hell is this? Or a game you thought you liked and then you pick it up years later. It's just like, oh man. So I want to know your bad gaming experiences.
So we talking about games, or are we talking about someone slapped me while I was playing Mortal Kombat 4 in the canteen, and now I feel terrible? Like, what are we talking about?
Just a game that you played that was just a bad experience, bad game, worst game you ever played.
All right, first one, because this is hard, right? You always want to remember the good experiences, but the bad ones,
Yeah,
unless they really,
it was tough. It was tough for me too, and I'm probably
yeah,
forgetting some. I mean, I had some bad experiences, but I think many of them were tolerable, but I mean, I've had like 2 bad experiences where it's just like, oh, I'm never playing this game again. This is trash.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, my first one, Darksiders 3.
Darksiders 3.
Really?
Love. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I did not finish that game because it crashed so many times, but I broke the environment on the first level at the very start of the game. When you're plonked in with the character, just for context for anyone listening, Darksiders 1 and 2, and in fact 3, they're quite different games.
Mhm.
I think the developer is the same across them all, though. If not, it may have changed because the time between 1 and 3 was incredibly long. And it's based on the Four Horsemen dealing with varying time zones of the Earth's apocalypse, and there's a big complicated story there. But as the main protagonist in Darksiders 3, you get put into the first environment as the tutorial level. You're meant to run around and learn how to attack and hit things. And invariably, what I do, being a very detail-oriented gamer, is I get into that first environment, I see the road ahead of me, and I turn around and I have a look around to look for those secrets that that get discovered at the start of the game that you can never go back to. And what happens? I fall through the floor as soon as I start to edge my way towards one of the walls, through the floor. Restart again, turn around, try to look in what looks like a little alcove. I get backed into the other side of the environment, looking from the outside, looking in. That kind of glitch that breaks it a little bit for you, and you can see the entire map, kind of thing. It was like that, moving outside the wall and back in. So it didn't set itself up very well. Like, I broke it within the first 30 seconds of playing. Okay, great. Maybe it's all right for the rest of it. It wasn't. No. Walls were breaking. Graphical bugs were rampant.
Yeah, that sucks.
The gameplay loop and the skills, they weren't really that strong. I remember that being as a game, one of the only games I've managed to break within 10 seconds. It's yeah. That's the one that will always stick with me.
Oh boy. Finance, you got one you'd like to share?
Yeah, I was actually trying to show a picture of Darksiders 3, but I was having
It's
some
a
trouble.
perfect picture, by the way, for anyone who happens to be watching the YouTube. Nice, blurry, pixelated, like 360p, blown out to 4K. That is my experience with this game.
Wow.
Perfect.
For me, yeah, there's a game. It was called High Octane. So it was a racing game. Yeah, no one's gonna know this game. It was
wow.
on PlayStation. I just recommend you guys could just go ahead and look it up while you're listening to this. But I love racing games. One of the key sellers was it has the Star Fox. It has the Star Fox airplane from Nintendo 64 like in it as one of the racers. So I was just like, oh, this game is gonna be epic. It's gonna be amazing, and it's very much Wipeout ish. Or back in the day, if you play like Extreme G or any of like those, just like very linear, like speed up, just straightforward racing games. You hit the boosters and you just go type of racing game, and I was doing everything. I very much to everything Matt was speaking to. It's like I was going through walls. I was falling through the floor. The graphics were just horrendous. It was just straight gray boxes like all around. The only colored icons that you had were like your like speed meter or your speedometer or whatever, and your boost, and then that was like pretty much the only color. Everything else was like grays and browns, and it was just such a like it's a complete opposite for like this game compared to what Matt was just saying about like, oh, that was his experience, like how the game looked in the background. For this game, like all the pictures that like I looked at when you asked us to like look up pictures all looked so much better than what I played on my old CRT TV.
Oh
It,
wow.
it was horrible. It was so washed out, grainy. Man, High Octane, worst racing game of all time. I bought it and I was just so disappointed. And I think that's one of the reasons why I am the way I am now. And like as
Picky,
far as like
super picky.
yeah, as far as like researching games and ensuring that like I don't pick up a dud because that game scarred me. But that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Okay. For me, I had several, but to keep it short, I'm just going to keep it to one. I'm just going to talk about virtually the worst game I ever played. Luckily, I never owned this game. It was I borrowed it in high school from a friend. Occasionally, I play my old school NES, and this game was just like, I don't know. All right. Okay. I'm going to tell you, Urban Champion for the NES. That is like one of the worst games of all time. It's a fighting game, but it's I mean, I'm not big on fighting games, but it is it's a pretty bad game. Pretty much you're just fighting one guy, and pretty much your object is to punch him into a sewer or manhole. I know it was the NES, but it's just like the scenery is all the same. Like you're in front of a building that says like snack bar or barber shop, and I think there's some dude like looking out the window at you or something. It's just a pretty like straightforward fighting game, and it's just like you don't get like any power ups. There's no real incentive. It's just the same thing, just punching a guy into a manhole.
So I'm gonna correct you real quick because right now you're putting a bad spin on fighting games, and this is not a fighting game.
It is sort of.
It is a side-scrolling brawler, and then there's a big definitive line right there between fighting game and a brawler.
Okay. It's a brawler.
So
okay.
I have Wikipedia for Urban Champion open right now, and it says is a 2-player fighting game, which does not lend credit to Wikipedia. Like no one rates it as a source, but it also says it was released in 1984, and that's a very early time. I mean, people's minds may have been blown by that.
Maybe, but I mean, it definitely doesn't hold up today. I played it about, I want to say like sophomore, junior year of high school, which would have been about 20 years ago. Yeah, that was the last time I picked up that game.
Yeah, and send me that link to the Wikipedia so I can request an edit on that because it is not not a fighting game. That is not
okay.
That is not
okay,
correct.
It's not a fighting game. Okay, I mean,
thank you. I got the edit here. I'm gonna submit this now.
Oh, wow, you really are
not
gonna do this.
Not that anyone's gonna read it because no one's gonna play this game.
Yeah, but bottom line, but despite of the genre, it is a pretty crappy game, to say the least. I mean, maybe it was popular back in the 80s. Maybe like it would be fun if you were playing with a friend, but like in terms of like objective, like I said, it's just the same thing. Just you're trying to punch your opponent into a sewer / manhole, whatever you want to call it, and then you go on to the next level that looks exactly the same with just a different sign on the building. Like they could have been at least a little more creative, like with the design scenery. I mean, I understand it was the mid '80s, but they could have did better, I think.
Well, okay. So there's a really important distinction that we need to make here. We had a terrible time with games, but that shouldn't necessarily reflect on the game badly. Like as I said, it potentially came out in 1984. If you say it doesn't hold up in 2000, 16 years after the release with enough progression in video game consoles, then maybe it's not the worst game in the world, but it's terrible to you. Like the same way there's Dark Souls fans out there. I was just checking the page, 70% on Metacritic. Like
mine came out in 1996 and I played it in 1996. So I'm just going to say that much. And I haven't played it since. Yeah.
All right. Well, there are a few other games I could have came up with. I mean, Final Fantasy IX, I had a bad experience playing that one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I'll tell you why. And then you'll be like, let's just imagine you're 20 hours into a game and then your file gets corrupted.
That's not the game's fault.
Dude, Skyrim. I had 126 hours in that thing on the 360. Far corrupt. That is my entire school holidays ruined.
Ugh. Yeah, I know that. I know that feeling. I mean,
That's on the console and the memory card. That's not that's not on the game.
Hey! I've been thinking about rebuying it on the Switch. So I mean, it's a good game. Don't tell me wrong, but I mean,
It's a very good game.
Yeah.
You don't want to blame. Like, I know a bad experience. Of course, it's easy to blame the game, especially when
Yeah.
you're younger. But I just
Yeah.
want to say,
Yeah,
that's not the game's fault.
Yeah,
Here
I
is the
understand.
challenge. Here is the challenge I have before we move on to the next segment.
Yeah.
Let's go back and play him. Let's give him another go before the next couple of podcasts, and then we can report back.
Urban Champion,
Yeah.
Seriously?
Dude, I don't even know if I'd be able to find that game. I don't know if it exists.
I'd have to definitely emulate Urban Champion.
If you go to your best effort and say this game, I could not find this game, still terrible, that's a result still. But I'm just saying,
Okay,
maybe we'll
I'll
just run
take you up on that. I'll take you up on that. If you do High Octane Finest, I will play Urban Champion once again.
Yeah, I will do. It's on Sega and Saturn. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do my best to find it. I see it's on PC
Legally.
also.
Let's make sure. Remember, don't do crime.
No promises. I said I will play the game. Don't give me boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all good here.
No limits.
All right.
Maybe crime.
Let's get to the release rundown, and then we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Hopefully, those have been good experiences. Release rundown.
What
That
happened?
Incredibly unfortunate. Oh, here he is.
Okay, you're back. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Restart segment. Sorry, we lost you for a second there.
Okay. All right. I'll go again. Let's do the release rundown for this week. We will start with November 9th, Airborne Kingdom, coming out for pretty much all the consoles. Disney Classic Games Collection coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Also, Football Manager 2022 coming out for the Xbox One and PC. And the big one this week, Forza Horizon 5. Madness, I hope you're listening. That is coming out for the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. We hope you do get well, Mr. Madness, and we do want to hear your review.
Is a cough. He's a big whiny baby.
It's just bad for a podcast.
Yeah. Maybe he just lost his voice or something. And then Jurassic World Evolution 2, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. Among Trees for the PC, November 10th. November 11th, we have Bright Memory Infinite, Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition. That's going to be on PS5, pretty much all the consoles there, the trilogy. And I think it's just going to be the digital version. The physical version is coming out next month. So just keep that in mind, people. And then Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic coming to Switch November 11th. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Special Edition coming to the PS5, Xbox Series X and S. I know. And then Shin Megami Tensei 5 for the Switch on November 12th. Any games anyone should be on the lookout, or any games you all looking forward to playing?
Yeah, there is. There's quite a few hit bangers in here. Matt, you did the so I want to hear.
Actually, no, I just noticed that Bright Memory Infinite is on PC on November 11. I thought that was going to be a Sony exclusive, because that's the one that was part of the State of Play this year, right?
It might be coming out for Sony for PlayStation later on. I mean, but when I did my research for what was coming out, it just said PC. So
popped in.
Or maybe where you pulled it from wasn't updated yet, because I mean, Sony just announced that. So
yeah, they did. Yeah, maybe it was kind of short notice, perhaps, because they did just announce it. So we'll keep that in mind. If it is inaccurate, we will let you know. But definitely, Matt, any bangers?
Messenger.
Okay.
Forza Horizon 5, I'll give that a crack. You guys have been talking about it enough. I'll pick it up on Game Pass. It's coming out on the 8th for us, which will be tomorrow. So
okay, nice. For sure, definitely. I mean, yeah. And then if you do have an Xbox, and I believe if there is early access to it, I believe that's what Mr. Madness is using. So, I mean, you can't be playing it right now. And then also for me, definitely GTA, the trilogy, the definitive edition. That looks like a good one. Revisiting those old GTA games. Oh, Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, it looks. I'll definitely want to give that a crack too. That looks incredible. I mean,
talking about hype.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, we're really hyping it up this week, but I mean, it really is the big game this week. And then F-Man, what do you plan on playing?
I mean, Shin
Or
Megami kind of has my eye. So I'm kind of thinking about that one. That one's just really super JRPG. Like, you know, if like I don't think I played a JRPG that's been like that that just that much of a JRPG in just a long time. They've been much more action based and everything. And then I know I'm excited for Forza. I'm not gonna play it off the bat because I haven't been able to procure an Xbox Series X yet. But yeah, and then Skyrim's out again, which is
again.
awesome. Yeah, and then of course the video didn't play in the background, but that's totally fine. We'll just forget that. But yeah, and Skyrim's out again. So I mean, this is probably going to be the best way to ever have been able to play Skyrim.
Now, I did investigate this myself.
Yeah.
There's an upgrade path for people who have the previous collector's special edition, whatever that is.
Mm.
And this is an upgrade to that. The upgrade won't include the cosmetics that come with it. There will be an additional cost for people upgrading for free. But if you buy the special edition when it comes out in its entirety for the full price, it'll come with a bunch of extra cosmetics as well. But basically, it includes everything that's come out for the game so far.
Okay.
Just
And
Okay.
in a
so,
nutshell.
what was the price of it? Was that $50 or were
I
they?
think so.
Okay. Yeah, I believe it was like 49 some change. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, for sure, definitely. So those are the games coming out this week. Next week's episode, we will definitely do another release rundown of some good games for y'all out there to play. So before we end this episode, the best part of the episode, what are we playing? Let's start with you, Finest. I want to
Guardians,
hear it.
man.
Guardians.
I'm playing Guardians. Yeah, there's so much to say about this game. I mean, we're already this episode's already been so long, but essentially, like everything that I was saying earlier, Guardians is everything that I feel like the Avengers could have been. Um, I'm on chapter 7. I'm just like a little bit under halfway of the game. There's 16 chapters. Uh, I think this game has just been an underdog for so many people, and myself included. Uh, I went in with so much optimism, and I was like very excited about the game. But just hearing the reviews and hearing people talk about it really solidified just the way I was already hoping the game would be. And then let's see what else do I want to say about this game. So
Sorry,
much
just to
dialogue.
clarify there,
Oh yeah.
is it you think it's very good or you think it's worse than you thought it would be?
Oh, thank you for clarifying if I said that. No, it is
May just be
better. It is it is
Better.
it is it's where I thought it was going to be in terms of like I thought it was going to be like a good game. But it is a good game and beyond. It's actually a great game. For
cool.
me, definitely a game of the year contender. I wasn't expecting to play any single player very linear story based games this year and be like wowed or thrilled by them. Except Hades, of course. But I mean that was already released before this year. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, this game. There's so much to say about this game. I really want to go in depth about this game. If you haven't played it or you're thinking about playing it, I would just say go ahead and play it. Just the story really encapsulates you, connects you with the characters from the very beginning of the game. So that's all I got to say about Guardians. But play it. It's a great game.
For sure, definitely. Matt?
Cool, man. So I've got 2 games on the docket. The first one is Satisfactory, which is an early
Satisfactory.
access game. It's basically Factorio in a 3D environment, building factories to produce more and more resources to progress to building more resources. Just a super relaxing game. But uh, with the video you can see on screen now, it's delivered by Coffee Stain Studios, the same studio that released Valheim to much acclaim earlier this year or late last year, I think. and still in early access. But it had a massive update recently where it moved from Unreal Engine 4 into 5. And with that upgrade came a number of quality of life improvements with how the game works. Now, it's not going to be for everybody. I have a great time with it though. It's in that Hades realm where you can throw. No, what's the best way to put it? You feel like you're going to do 30 minutes. You'll be like, okay, half an hour. Then I'm going to go to bed. It'll be fine. And then you come back to your senses, and 6 hours have passed, and you're wondering where that time went, just because you were having such a good time. The volume and the capacity to do things, the co-op mode, all of the elements that bring it together into something either fully functional or fully aesthetic. There are people building so many factories, and there's so many secrets in it too. Like one of the most recent updates that came to the game was the ability to have lights in your factories. And when Update 5 came out, they didn't advertise this, but there's an emote that your character can do. It's like a little clap. But when you're in your factory and the lights are on, when you do the little clap, it turns all the lights off. And then you clap again and it turns them all on. Like there's so many little things with this game. And look, it's not going to be for everybody, but I'm having a great time with it, revisiting it again.
Is this a third-person game when you're building and employing and or deploying, I should say, people, and then you like can go to first person to like experience everything that you've built?
No, so the video we have currently on the video podcast at the moment is kind of gives you the feeling like it's an RTS with the ability to have a first person. I think Rift Breakers that came out last week is very much that experience, but not this. This is all first person. There are ways for you to move high in the environment to get a good look, but it's all first person. And it's not about deploying units to do anything. You are basically a solitary person on this planet, working for the Fix-It company. You've been implored to make the most efficient factory you can to gather the planet's resources and send them back up to the powers that be. And then you just go on your merry way, doing whatever you need to get that done. It's actually a very simple game, but it is first person and all about building and stuff like that. There's a bit of combat as well, some creatures to fight in the environment, but really it's the way that you can build in the environment. That's the biggest component of it. Sometimes traversal too.
Can you start off on different worlds, or is it always the same world?
It's always the same world. The way they've structured the beginning of the game, because it has different biomes on this one planet. Like there's a desert biome, a forest biome, a plains biome, which is just green grass, and they have varying difficulties associated with them based on the resources available in those areas. But there's also nothing stopping you from starting in one area and then hightailing it all the way to the other side of the map and starting there instead. Like it's a very flexible game in that sense. But that's basically what the setup is. I could explain a whole lot more with it, but I mean, it's best just to dive in and feel it out for yourself. The difficulty curve can be high at the beginning, especially if you're not sure what to expect. But the more you play it, the easier everything becomes, and it's just a great experience overall. I highly recommend it.
All right, I'll definitely give it a look to read some reviews on it. Definitely check it out.
One more notable mention, which I won't explain at all because it's one of those games where you say anything and it ruins the game. Inscription. Ooh. Inscription is one of those third-person kind of dive in and investigate kind of games where it hooks you, but it's based on a card game. Not a real-world one, but there's a card game element in it that just has me sucked in completely. Inscription. It's about probably $10 or $20 for you guys. It was about 26 in Australia. Highly recommend giving that a go, particularly if you like games that break the fourth wall and bend backwards on themselves a little bit.
All right, for sure. So I've been playing. I've got some good news for you guys. I beat Metroid Dread, and let me tell you, that last boss battle was. I mean, you really got to pick your pin your points and all that stuff, but I was able to do it. So to all the people who said it was super hard, if your boy here can beat it, anyone can beat it.
Challenge number 2 for the episode.
Yeah, go beat Metroid Dread. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then playing after beating Metroid, I picked up a Super Metroid a while back when it came to Switch Online. You know, I'd really never got into it as a kid, but you know, I definitely wanted to give it another go around. So I'm playing that, and you know, I'm a fair amount of way into the game. It's it's a little. I wouldn't say it's as hard as Metroid Dread, you know, but I'm making my way through it. I mean, there's a little bit of mysteries here and there. I mean, I can't wait to see what I get into next. And then a game I haven't started playing yet, and you know, finance. It was either between this or Guardians of the Galaxy. I chose this, and this is the part of the show where I hold up a game to the camera. It's Mario Party Superstars, and it definitely hits that nostalgia factor, as it you know, has 100 mini games from the first several Mario Party games, and the first boards from the first 3 Mario Party games, Mario Party 1, 2, and 3 for the N64. So I'm definitely excited to give this game a go around. I'll definitely hit that nostalgia factor. Maybe I even get my wife to play this game with me. Who knows? It's I can't wait to open it up, fire it in my Switch, and you know, play away. It looks very fun, very mischief. Just something I really just want to do right now, especially after playing all these adventure games. And then eventually, my next big purchase will be probably Guardians of the Galaxy, and then after that, maybe Forza Horizon 5 for Xbox. But you know, that's what I'm into right now for the most part. All right,
Nice.
so
Very nice.
yeah, for sure. So with that being said, we got to close the show. It's been a very long show, but you know, we had fun, definitely. Never a dull moment on the Game and Watch podcast. So definitely thank you for listening or watching. Definitely check us out on all our platforms, whether you know it be where you listen to it audio wise, or you know, just check out the Patreon. Definitely check that out. So definitely, you know, check us out.
We
will
want to
be
hear
back.
from you.
Yeah, email the show, gameandwatchpodcast@gmail.com. Definitely send us your emails, your questions, your comments. We'll answer them on air. Until the next episode, you know, thanks for watching. Be safe out there. For Matt,
Bye.
for finance.
Do what you got to do.
This is
Don't
too
do
tall for
crime.
you,
Don't do
fool.
crime.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
don't do crime. Yeah, so long. Stay safe. Don't do crime. Later.
See you next time.
Bye, y'all.